I just made this video on Instagram talking about a random topic for a minute straight. I did 30 minutes planning and then I spoke to the camera for a minute straight. Here are my notes that I took during the time lapse of that video, and that's exactly what I'm going to go through in this one because I decided, hey, this is helping a lot of people and these are problems that I've solved myself and I've helped a bunch of other people solve as well. So it would be better to turn this into a YouTube video. So the chances are you're from that Instagram video and you want more source, you want the full formula. So that's exactly what this is. And you see this here, procrastination, which is what we are solving. I'm gonna go ahead and put a line straight through that because after this video, you are never going to procrastinate again. So my notes, I did about 4 pages and I'll show them here. Look, these were my first, just jotting down my thoughts, like going through, okay, how would I solve procrastination? And then I did more. I did these ones where I basically just, it was more of like planning it for how I'm gonna say it for the video and summarizing the main key points and then an additional final conclusion there. So I wrote, procrastination is a mental block that limits taking action. And that's very true, right? If you think about it in principle, what actually is procrastination? It's simply just not doing an action. So you could almost see it as lack of execution, which is what I said in the video. I said lack of execution towards a specific action, because there's always a specific thing that you'll be procrastinating. And that leads me into number 1. What is the first thing we start with is diagnose. Diagnose why you are procrastinating, because if you don't know why, it's very hard to control the reason to then get past that blockage. If you're driving in the dark and there's a wall, well, you need to know where that wall is so then you can drive past. That's a terrible drawing, but you get the point. So first things first is diagnose. Before you do absolutely anything, think to yourself right now, what is the task that you're procrastinating, and ask why. Now, I can actually answer that for a lot of you. So instead of you having to go away and do some deep thinking, I'm going to answer that for you. Number 1, and this is quite simple, but this one isn't usually, it kind of depends who you are, but this one, maybe 20 to 30% would be lack of discipline. Maybe you need to cold call. It's hard and it's something you don't want to do, therefore it's lack of discipline. So probably around 20, 30, maybe 40, 20 to 40% lack of discipline, right? Number 2 is fear of change. So you know that an action is going to help you. You know that, for example, if you do make them cold calls, it is going to help your position. And you want growth, but the thing is you fear change. So you're scared, deep down subconsciously, you're scared of moving to the next level. So there's a part of you that's holding you back. And then number 3, which is very similar to number 2, is just self-sabotaging. Like there's not as much reasoning behind it. It's just you're self-sabotaging yourself to not do the thing. And then there'll be some other reasons, but it usually falls into a category of like one of these most of the time. And I mean, at the end of the day, procrastinating of not taking action is simply just avoiding the thing. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, most of the time, I would probably say about 40% of the time it comes down to discipline. But the first thing you have to do is diagnose to understand which one it is and why. And then, yeah, like I said there, just why. Why is it that you are not very disciplined? Because simply most of the time it's you have to build up that discipline. You have to go from level 1 to level 10 discipline to operate at level 10 results. Because if you're doing things that are hard, like cold calling, you can't just instantly go into that and you need to build up to that level. So diagnosing the reason as to why and how you feel about that internally, and really just shaking hands with your shadow self and greeting and understanding the problem to then take and regain control back over that. And as I specifically said in the video, understanding the deeper reason within your subconscious allows you to gain back control. And if you're aware of Carl Jung, who is one of the founding fathers of psychology, his main concept or theory is about the shadow self, about how 95%, well actually this is a different thing, but 95% of what we do and everything that we have control about is within our subconscious, not our conscious state. So if you want to gain control over something that you're struggling with, like self-sabotaging, the best thing to do is speak with your shadow self essentially and figure this out, because then consciously you can regain that control back. So you might want to do some research on Carl Jung's theories, but shadow work's a very deep and very dark rabbit hole to go down, so be careful with that one. Anyway, number 2, this one was, and I think is, I'm going to change pen actually. This is a big one. Number 2, that one's going to be dead as well. Number 2. My pens are procrastinating working for me right now. All right, number 2 is make the starting point as easy as possible. And the reason for this is because if in your mind the level is level 10 starting point and you're only at level 1, it's so hard to just make that jump, and it does require a lot of discipline, but most times you won't have that discipline if you're only at level 1. Therefore, start with execution at level 1 and gradually build up to it. And a good way, and I gave this example on the video that I made, is let's say you need to build an app. Building an app's a big job, and to get started is pretty hard, but I would say you can start in any form. Just tell your mind that you're starting and actually start. Stop doing things that have absolutely no relevance to the task. Like, let's say you need to build an app. Like I said, building an app is hard, but you can start by planning, you can start by doing the design. Yes, it doesn't have a massive push towards building the app in the first place, but it's still setting your mind in the right tone that you're not the person that procrastinates because you do the thing. So, and I'll lead into number 3. Number 3 is the biggest one, but secondly, literally, if you make the task so easy to start that you force yourself to do it in the first place because you only need a little bit of discipline to start an easy task, then it's a lot easier to start. So imagine this, right? In the position where you've diagnosed why you're procrastinating, you know exactly what it is, and let's just say, since for the majority it will be probably lack of discipline. Because you have diagnosed it's a lack of discipline, you make the start super easy. So if it's cold calling, what you do to make it super easy to begin with, as the first task to do, is you practice a call in the mirror, right? You practice doing a cold call in the mirror. It's an action towards the outcome that you're looking for of doing maybe 20 cold calls in the day. It might not be a massive step forward, but the thing is, it is a baby step, and that counts towards the goal because it's you getting your rhythm. It's telling your mind and teaching your mind you're not the person that procrastinates because you have at least took one step towards that goal. So really just figure out what it is you're doing, what it is you're avoiding, because most times you're avoiding the hardest thing, and the hardest thing that has the best way to put it is the most highest leverage towards your goal. Number 3 is more of a rule, which is no productivity masturbation. I can't be able to draw the full thing. So no productivity masturbation essentially means kind of what I was talking about before about making the start easy. If you make and stay in that state of easy, and you do these very, very minor actions that aren't leveraged towards the goal, then essentially you're just tricking yourself that you're being productive for the long term, and you aren't getting anything actually done. This is what a lot of people do. A lot of people start a business. A business is hard. It requires a lot of discipline. They don't have the discipline. Therefore, they want to feel content within themselves. So what they do is, instead of actually doing the highest leverage action they can be doing, is they do these little things that feel like they're moving the needle forward and feel like they're being productive. But in reality, they are being so far from productive. They'll be doing things like, let's say you're starting a marketing agency. Instead of doing cold calls and actually putting yourself out there, doing the highest leverage things to get clients, they'll be doing things like building a website or building an app or a profile, logo, banner, things like that that have no actual significance in the goal. If the goal is to make 10K a month with a marketing agency, get dialing the phone. And yeah, that's a huge problem, is productivity masturbation. So number 1, diagnose a problem, make starting easy, get into the rhythm of starting and progressing the steps, and then make sure that you do not ever productivity masturbate, which is a bit of a weird term, but it's essentially just saying that you're lying to yourself that you feel like you're being productive, but in reality you're not, you're staying still, and then you get super depressed because you're not getting the results that you want to get, even though you feel like you're putting in the work, because you're lying to yourself that you're putting in the work in the right direction when you're not. You're stuck at a standstill and nothing's actually moving forward. And that's then when most people quit. And I do not want that for you. You have goals and ambitions. And it's just, people need to realize this before they go into business. I learned this the hard way. A lot of other people did as well. And I'm teaching you this now so that you don't have to learn it the hard way, that you can learn this now and make sure that you don't make this mistake yourself. Like, seriously, you can do it the hard way and make this mistake of like having a load of emotion in the business you're operating in, and telling yourself you're being productive when in reality you're not, and just lie to yourself and lie to make yourself feel better. And then when you get no results, you will see why eventually. But some people do this cycle time and time again, and I see it a lot, right? So I'm really just making this video so people don't make these same mistakes, because yeah, it's sad to see. And sometimes we still have minor glimpses of it where maybe the highest leverage thing to be doing is making a YouTube video, and it's easy to then procrastinate by doing something else in replacement of that YouTube video, because you still feel like you're being productive, but it's just a way of keeping yourself comfortable. And Yeah, dreams die in the comfort zone. So you have to always stay uncomfortable doing things that you don't want to do. Right now, I don't mind making this YouTube video. I mean, I've kind of put things off before in the past with the YouTube videos because it takes quite a bit of time. Right now, the biggest thing is it's really hot and I'm like dripping with sweat right now. So that's my problem, is it's uncomfortable physically to make this video right now. Pretty weird setup, but I'm doing it anyway. And those are the three things really. Like if I'm to add anything else when it comes to eliminating procrastination, I'm going to go back to the discipline thing because it's just huge, right? Discipline. You have a discipline meter from, let's just say 1 to 100. Some tasks will require level 50 discipline, some tasks will require 5, some won't require very much, but some will require loads. Your business will demand you to operate at sometimes, some days, level 50 discipline. Now, this is just an arbitrary metric to explain basically how the discipline spectrum works. And the thing is, right, what you're doing is you're only at level 5 trying to do level 50 tasks, and then you burn out on the way there trying to do them. Therefore, you don't get the thing done. Therefore, you then feel depressed in yourself because you weren't able to have the discipline to do the thing. But what you can do to improve this discipline meter is every time you take an action. So let's say you're currently at level, I'll start like 30, level 4, you're at level 40 discipline, let's say. And your business demands of you to be able to do level 70, level 80 discipline things. Every time you do an action that is like one level above, you then become that level. So it's like almost unlocking a new level in the game. So I'll give you an example. The other day, I ran a half marathon. I don't really run that much. Before that, my highest run was at like 13, 14 kilometers. And, you know, I don't run very much. I just thought, hey, I want to be more disciplined. That's an action that I can do that builds my discipline levels. It's very hard in the moment, but that took me from like, I don't know, let's say I was level 60 discipline to level 61, right? So I'm leveling up by doing these things. And it is a long game. It's a long-term thing. It's not going to, like, you're not just going to wake up one morning from level 1 to level 100 discipline. But one of the things that you can be doing every single day is making sure you're leveling up your discipline by doing the hard things, especially when it's hard. I'll give you another example. I used to walk to the gym. No, actually, I could have, some days I could drive to the gym. It's only like a 3-4 minute drive for me. It's not too far. But sometimes on the days that it's raining, I will walk to make it harder for myself. I don't have to do that, but it's harder for me because uphill walk in the heaving down rain. I'm from the UK, so sometimes that happens. And this is just an example of doing things that you don't want to do to build discipline, instead of just avoiding discomfort because you want to stay comfortable. So every time you take an action that essentially builds towards your discipline level, you go up. But then also, okay, this is where things get really interesting. You can also subtract your discipline levels. Every time you do something like play a video game or stay comfortable, instead of being, like, let's say if I didn't run that marathon that day and I decided to just stay in bed or go, you know, not do much, do like watch loads of Netflix, binge watch like loads of flipping like Marvel movies or whatever. I could be then, instead of getting to level 61, I could be level 59 that day. And I can be going backwards and backwards and backwards until I restart at level 1. And this is what happens for some people, is they aren't constantly compounding this, positively compounding their discipline level, so that when they take the wrong actions, they're going backwards instead of forwards. And because they're going backwards, things in the business and things in their life get harder. And because it gets harder, the things don't get done. And then that's when they suffer from things like procrastination, because they don't have the discipline to actually do the action in the first place because their discipline level is so low. So I know this is like, I've gone like quite in depth with this, but you need to understand these things and make sure that this is your thought process. This is my day-to-day thought process. I get up in the morning thinking, I can't lie in, I can't waste time, I can't watch Netflix and stuff like that, because if I don't work towards improving my discipline levels, then I'm gonna go backwards or I'm gonna stagnate. And that's the worst thing that you can do in life, because you need to be leveling up your stats. And discipline as a characteristic is the most important stat that you can be focusing on. Now, I'm gonna go into another thing, which you need to understand this. Like, okay, now I've explained how to not procrastinate. I've explained how important discipline is in procrastination. You understand this now, but what actual importance does this play in your life? So you have a goal. This is you right now. Again, I've used the wrong pen. This is you right now. I mean, maybe life could be okay, but you have huge ambitions to get into a much better position in life with happiness. You have the money, let's say. So let's just say this is now. This is in the present, and this is in 1 year. And let's say your goal in 1 year is to make 20K a month through whatever business. Think of this timeline. This timeline is literally just to represent time, by the way, of now to 1 year. Your current identity of who you are as a person is not consistent with being the person that can make 20K per month. Maybe you're making like 5K a month, then you're a 5K per month person operating a 5K a month identity. So your characteristics, your skills, your beliefs, your environment, and your relationships, this shapes your identity of who you are, and all of this is in alignment with who you are right now. Now understand that over time, every single one of these is its own spectrum, right? Every single one of it is its own spectrum. Every single one. And what you need to be doing, just imagine they're all the same length. I don't know why I did it a bit shorter, but you get the point. Is every spectrum, so with your characteristics, so characteristics are things like your discipline, your consistency is an element of your characteristics, focus, emotional management, malleability. Each one of these characteristics that you need to become the version of yourself making 20K per month, it requires a spectrum. So for each one, let's say you need to get to level 100, level 100, level 100, level 100, level 100, level 100, and you're currently at level 1. Level 1, level 1, level 1, level 1. You need to consistently be getting better at each one in order to get into alignment with that version of yourself. Now imagine this is what you're doing. Over time, the actions compound that you take, that then you inevitably become that version of yourself that can make 20K per month, right? You have the blueprint, you follow it, you become that version of yourself. And then what happens is everything else will catch up. And this is what happened for me. In August 2025, I said, look, enough's enough. I had a lot of businesses that were up and down, up and down. I was stagnant for a while. And I set the goal to become the version of myself that can make over 25K US dollars per month. And I set the deadline or the aim to be December 2025. And okay, I did not achieve it in 2025 in December. I achieved it 2 weeks after, in the middle of January. Well, around January, let's just say. So a bit of like, let's say 3 months, three weeks after, where I then made 28,600 US dollars, which is my best month ever, or was at the time. And that's because I became the version of myself that can make the 30K a month, right? I actually surpassed the level that I wanted to. And when I had this realization, it's the power to gain control over absolutely everything that you do, because you know the blueprint that you simply just have to follow. You know all the characteristics you need to become the 20K a month version of yourself. You know the skills, beliefs, environment, relationships. It is all simply aligning them. But I want to make you very careful of something. If one of them isn't in alignment, let's say you do all of these, but you don't have the right, let's say, environment, you won't become that version. Every single one of these arrows needs to be pointing in the right direction, because if one isn't, it will most likely fall apart. So imagine this specific situation where this version of you now starts aligning yourself. But let's say you miss the environment. So the environment is things like the people around you. You've got the digital environment of what's on your phone and your computer, the informational environment of the things you consume. You have the people, like I said, relationships of people around you. Let's say if this stays bad and you don't align this with the version of you making 20K per month, maybe you have all the skills to make 20K a month, but because your environment is keeping you compressed to the version of you right now, that could be the one thing that needs changing in order to get to yourself at 20K a month. And this is what I help people solve. I help people understand where they are at right now with their current identity, the changes and alignments that they need to make with their identity to achieve their goals. This is the only objectively true blueprint to becoming that version. And you might be asking, hey Aaron, how do I know if this is accurate? How can I actually trust this? Well, that's a really good question. Smart for asking that. The blueprint that you're aiming isn't just a myth, right? When you choose the characteristics, the skills, beliefs, environment, and relationships, you don't just make it up. That's not how the process works. The process works by finding someone that's already achieved what you want. I'll give you an example. My identity model that has already achieved what I want is Charlie Morgan. I can look at his identity blueprint of who he is, his characteristics, his skills, his beliefs, and his environments and his relationships, because that is objectively true proof of concept that his identity has achieved the thing. So if you want to make $1 million a month in e-commerce, find a mentor, an identity model that is making $1 million a month in e-com, break down their characteristics, skills, beliefs, environment, relationships, their identity, and align yourself with them. I'm not saying copy them, but their objective truth that they have certain skill sets, mirror those skill sets, certain beliefs, environment, relationships. That is how you align yourself. And that's exactly what I do with people. I've helped over nearly 50 people now in total through identity alignment. And like I said, I mean, my own case study, I made over I made nearly 30,000 through my own process. And I solved all of my own problems. Everything that I mentioned, like procrastination, self-doubt, lack of direction, these are all things that I've solved myself through aligning my identity. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a pitch now. This is me trying to sell you, not really to sell you. I mean, I just want to help you at the end of the day. I basically give away what I'm offering for like stupidly, ridiculously good prices for what my offer actually is and the value that it provides in your life of helping you reach your goals and everything. So I'm going to leave a link down below to book a call with myself. Only do this if you are ready to commit, because I only offer the 90-day programs. If you're willing to commit to actually becoming this version of yourself, if you have problems like procrastination, doubt, and things like these are all solvable. These are stopping you from becoming that version of yourself, but I already have worked with people to solve these, and I can do the same with you, and that's what I want to do. My mission is to help people. My mission is to solve your problems and help you become that version of yourself. So I'm also, I'll leave two links. One link's going to be for the Project Catalyst Timeline Challenge. The challenge is essentially a 30-day process that you can do completely on your own, but we do have a community around this as well where I help people. We have weekly calls. Check that out because a lot of your problems can be solved with the 30-day challenge itself. And I mean, right now, I'm not going to keep it open for too long. I'm only going to keep limited spaces for the Catalyst Challenge because it's filling up quite fast. So check that out because that can solve a lot of your problems if you're just looking for like a quick 30-day thing. But if you want to commit for 3 months and like fully go from maybe like 5K to 20K in 3 months, I'm not promising like crazy growth, but you will feel a lot of growth through going through the program, going through the process, then I'll leave another link that you can check that out as well. And you can book a call with myself. I'll be happy to speak with you. It's my mission to help people. So even if we get off the call and I just give you some advice, I'm happy to do that. But like I said, I really want to help you. And if you've watched this video to the end, then I mean, you found value in that as well. So I'm going to make more videos like this. I'm aiming for at least 1 video per week. So subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my Instagram because I'm going to be posting this full series as well. And I'm going to be doing a video for every single Instagram video that I make as well. So there's going to be a lot of videos to come. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I was kind of just in flow state, seeing how far I can go with this and seeing the value that I can give. But all of this together will allow you to solve your problems, and that is what I want for you, is to help you solve your problems. So yeah, I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll shall meet again.